What's up guys, my name is Julian, your solar expert, and today I'm bringing you a video that talks about how SunRun gets away with never actually paying out for lesser than promised production when they basically, this is a big part of the sales pitch, is the protection and the comfort that you're feeling from essentially knowing that if your system does not work correctly, that you're going to be reimbursed for that. And this is a lot of the reason why many people do PPAs or leases to begin with, because they're kind of taken down this path of fear-mongering, I should call it, towards not buying the system because of the responsibility and, you know, if it doesn't work, you're on the hook for everything. And in reality, they are not paying out customers when the system is not working correctly. And so I'm going to explain how they get away with this. And so if you are in the market going solar, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 760-473-5878. I cover about 30 states and I have a team of professionals all around the country that are honest. And yes, we are salespeople that want to sell you the system, but correctly and educate you the right way. So let's get right into it and explain how SunRun gets away with never actually paying out checks for less than promised production. All right, so the first thing is that they underestimate the kilowatt hours that the system is going to produce right off the bat. So what I mean by that is, let's just use some made up numbers for an example. So let's say that the system on paper is going to produce, when they hand it to you, it says 10,000 kilowatt hours in a year. What they're not telling you is that they probably have actually calculated that that system is going to produce closer to about 11,000 kilowatt hours, which could be seen on the surface as kind of a good thing, you know, because you're probably going to get more than what they're telling you. But in reality, if you were to buy the system and you just had an accurate proposal in the first place, it would have just said it's going to produce about 11,000. So what SunRun does is kind of lower the expectation, say it's going to produce usually about 10% less than in reality it's going to, so that you're happy that it produces a little bit extra. Now, the real reason they do this though is because if they say from the get-go, oh, this system's only supposed to produce 10,000 kilowatt hours when in reality it's going to produce 11, that leaves them room for the system not producing properly for what it actually is and get away with saying, hey, it's still working within the contractual amount that we promised you. There's nothing wrong with it, legally speaking, even if there actually is a problem with it. So that's the first layer in how they kind of protect themselves against saying that the system's working fine when in reality it maybe isn't. The second thing that they do is the promised production is calculated over a multi-year period. I've seen different contracts throughout the years from different PPA and lease providers, SunRun being, I know I've seen 2 years, a 24-month period. And so what this means is, let's say that they're promising you 10,000 kilowatt hours a year. So what they do is they say at the end of every 2 years, for example, which in this case would be like just under 20,000 kilowatt hours guaranteed, only until basically you get to the end of the 2-year mark and they do the full 2-year sum count of every month for 2 years, only at that point in time they'll say, oh, okay, yeah, you were short on power. And so what this means is, if the system was supposed to produce 10,000 on paper, but it's really going to produce 11,000 if it's working right, in reality they're giving themselves 2,000 kilowatt hours of the system not working right before you even get into the zone of saying that the system is below the guaranteed amount. So they use this as a way to justify 3-4 month periods of the system not working and say, well, yeah, technically, yeah, even though the system didn't work right, we're not going to cover your bills during those 3 or 4 months because over the 2-year period, the average still was above the guaranteed amount. So the longer they spread out this period, the harder it is to really dial in on specific months where you just had no power being produced and get paid back for it. Okay, the third one, in reality, when you go into these contracts, the next way that they protect themselves is, in most of these contracts, it'll say that somewhere in the range of 95 to only 85% of the stated figure, so in this example, that's the 10,000 figure, but in the contract it may say, well, actually, we really only start paying you out at 90% of that figure, so 9,000 kilowatt hours in this example. So what they've done is taken that system that they know really is going to produce 11,000 and not even begin to admit that there's a problem with it until it's at 9,000. But not only that, is really it's 18,000 kilowatt hours over 2 years approximately. And so when they know it's supposed to be about 22 and they're saying there's not going to be a problem until 18, they just know they're buffering themselves quite a bit until there ever is a problem that they're going to have to step in and fix. Okay, the fourth thing that they do here is they are very vague about, now that batteries are part of this whole equation for most of the country, it's not just solar panels and inverters, it's solar panels, inverters, and battery storage. A big claim that these solar salesmen are making is if you do a PPA, SunRun or Sonova or whoever is going to come in and replace your battery, halfway through the solar system's life because storage is part of the agreement. And that sounds all fine and dandy until you really get into the fine print and try to figure out where exactly the line is drawn for when you actually qualify for that new battery replacement. The warranty for these batteries, most of them are somewhere in between the 10 to 15 year mark, depending upon which product you go with. And generally speaking, you're going to see some sort of drop between 30 and 40% in capacity over that 10 or 15 year period. But they say we rely on the manufacturer's warranty for the first 10 years. But what about after the manufacturer warranty is over and SunRun technically is saying that they're on the hook for making sure that your battery is working correctly, but it's not broken and the capacity is just really, really low at that point? Well, in your agreement, it never really says like, oh, not only do we guarantee a certain production amount, but we also guarantee a certain kilowatt hour capacity outside of that 10-year mark. And when you get to that capacity, when the battery is only functioning at that percent capacity of the year one capacity, that's when we step in and you qualify for the new battery. It does not say anything about that. So I believe that there's a lot of people that are really being misled and they're basically being sold these PPAs under the impression that no problem, no questions asked, zero cost, they're just going to get a free battery in like 10 years, when in reality it is, I believe, going to be far from that. And when I talk to representatives from these companies, the answers they give me are very vague and it's sketchy at the very least. Okay, so they also, at the end of it, if you somehow get past all of the layers of, that I just went over, they do not really even default to giving you a check. They want to just apply it to future bills because that's what they default to. So unless you, basically make a point of getting a check, they're just going to basically credit your future bills, which obviously it never really feels as sweet. Okay, and then the last thing that I just wanted to mention is because a lot of people too, they think, well, oh, if my system's underproducing or something, SunRun says they'll like come clean my panels, or if over time the system isn't producing enough, they'll come and add panels. This is a complete lie. I think that SunRun has cleaned 0 systems ever, probably in the history of them existing, and I have never even once heard of them actually going back and adding panels to a system to get that production up to what it was supposed to be. They will always default to just giving you the discount back or the credit back because that is always far cheaper for SunRun than actually sending installers out with equipment and purchasing new equipment to have it linked into your system to get you to that threshold. They'll say, sorry, we're just gonna give you the credit. So anyways, I'm actually making a whole series of these SunRun videos. I'm hoping to make about 12 of them in the next month. So if this was interesting and you want to check out more, hopefully there's more videos in my channel that are on this topic. And if you want to reach out to me directly, like I said, my cell phone 760-473-5878. I can help you go solar the right way. And if it's not me directly, I have guys all around the country that are experts in their local markets that can really help you out. Also, if you want to just skip all that and get started, there's a link below in the description. And ultimately, if you call me, I'm going to ask you to fill out that form anyway. So if you fill out that form, we'll call you back and get you on the calendar ASAP so we can help go over your system and figure out what solar system and how is best for you and how to basically slice your solar project. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you found it helpful.